Now, as we just mentioned with the congressman, the Biden regime continues to spend money we don't have, all the while claiming that it won't increase inflation, even though most U.S. economists say, yes, it will, and that we'll be in a deep one by at least the middle of next year. Take a look at this. The National Association of Business Economists found that 72% of all economists polled agree we are heading or even in one right now. 19% say the U.S. already in a recession. 9% of economists, the recession will start by the third quarter, and then 16%, the fourth quarter. 44% again say by the middle of next year. So pretty much all of them saying we're either in it or we're headed there. But let's go spend money. Think about it. What did Joe and the Dems do earlier this week? Oh, we're going to send $3 billion more in direct military aid to Ukraine. Good job. The gift comes even as Americans continue to suffer from all the domestic challenges here at home. Food shortages, inflation, high gas prices, a porous southern border, flooding our country with illegals. Yeah, don't pay attention at home. This aid package represents the biggest one-time package to date in the 6-month-old war, far exceeding the $1 billion we delivered earlier this month. And then let's add fuel to this dumpster fire today, when Biden steps out and mumbles his way through a speech announcing his long-awaited campaign promise to provide student loan debt cancellation. Great. Yeah. Why is he doing this? Because they know they're in trouble for midterms and they're trying to buy voters. So get this. Borrowers who earn less than $125,000 a year or families that make less than $250,000 a year will be eligible for $10,000 forgiveness on their college loans. And there's even more if you have a Pell Grant, another 10 G's of our money. Biden's also extending a pause on federal student loan payments for what he called the final time to the end of 2022.
By resuming student loan payments at the same time as we provide targeted relief, we're taking an economically responsible course. As a consequence, about $50 billion a year will start coming back into the Treasury because of resumption of debt. Independent experts agree that these actions taken together will provide real benefits for families without meaningful effect on inflation.
All lies. So with all of this constant printing and spending of monies we don't have by this regime, the big question has to be, how in the world can we expect inflation to come down? Let's ask our next guest, chief economist and founder of Schiff Gold, as well as the owner of Europac Bank, Peter Schiff. Back to the program. So Peter, how about it? Let's just go send another billion over to Ukraine. Let's spend $300 billion on people that took out loans for college that maybe they didn't even need, when only a small percentage of Americans actually go to college and they want us to pay for it. Number one, where are they getting this money from, Peter?
Well, they're going to print it. I mean, it's pure inflation. All the money that students are not going to repay to the government's just going to print. The Federal Reserve is going to create that money because this is like a giant tax cut for certain Americans, because the U.S. government is not going to get the money that it was going to receive from the repayment of those loans. So where is it going to get the money? Because there's no spending cuts. The government is not saying, in order to pay for canceling student loans, we're going to cut these other government programs. So all this is inflationary. But of course, the moral hazard here is enormous. Remember, the only reason we have all these student loans is because the government provided them or guaranteed them. The only reason college is so expensive is because the government provides so much money in the way of loans. But now that they start forgiving loans, students are going to borrow more money than ever before, because the colleges are going to be able to tell the students, hey, who cares how much you borrow for college? You're not going to have to pay any of it back anyway. So we're going to double your tuition, and don't worry. Hey, maybe we'll throw in a free car. Hey, go to college and get a free car. Don't worry. The government's going to pay for it all. Doesn't matter how much you borrow.
On top of all this, the housing market's starting to crash, I hear, in several states. We've got the supply chain shortage. And Joe redefines recession, because obviously you saw that stat. Almost every economist, and I'm sure you're one of them, says we're either in one or headed for a real deep one by next year. These two things, keeping shucking out money to Ukraine and this paying off college debt, is only going to make it worse, isn't it?
Well, we're already in a recession. By next year, maybe they'll be calling it a depression, or they'll be denying that as well. But I think that's what it's more likely to be. But it's also an inflationary depression, because inflation is going to get worse, not just because they're making it worse with student debt forgiveness or more aid to the Ukraine, but as the economy ultimately implodes, they're going to try to stimulate it. In fact, I think the reason they want to extend these moratorium on student loans is because they want to get through the next election, the midterms. They want to make sure that the voters vote for the guys who gave them out a freebie. Well, also what's going to be happening is the economy is going to be getting a lot worse, and there's going to be a lot of political pressure on the Federal Reserve to turn its attention from inflation to trying to do something to prop up a weak economy.
Well, I've been told it's not even legal for the alleged president to do this. The money won't even show up till next year if it does. So this is all political to try and get voters, because they know Democrats are in deep come November. They're buying votes, and kids, you're probably not even going to see this money. It's not even going to happen while they say they're going to pay your college debt. Plus, what a slap in the face to all the American families who paid for their kids, or the individuals who took the loan and paid it off. It's un-American.
But you know what?
It's nonsense, Peter.
Yeah, but you know what? This is also sending a message. If you're thinking about paying for your kids' college, don't do it. You're a sucker if you pay. Everybody is going to borrow the money on the chance that the loan is going to be forgiven. Why would you want to pay for something when the government says, hey, don't pay for it, it's going to be free?
Well, hopefully Republicans stop it from even being funded and it happens, because this is, again, so anti-American. Peter Schiff, chief economist, global strategist, founder over at Schiff Gold, and the owner of Europac Bank. As always, thank you for your expertise. Sounding off. Take care, Peter.